chapter 16. Judges chapter 16. I want to continue the vein that we talked about last week. There's some things I want to show you. Well, back over a couple chapters. Go to Judges 14. Let me say this. We'll go to 16. Go to Judges chapter 14. We're just going to read 1 through 15. And then I'll skip over to 16, chapter 16. But I want you to get where I'm going. Tonight. We got Judges chapter 15. What I said, 14?
You said what?
Yeah, 14. Let's read 14. Let's read 2 through I said 14. It should have been right. Judges 14. I'll set this up tonight. All right. I'm going to start at verse 3 for real. All right. So, I know somebody got it in the message Bible. Who got it? They good. All right. So, let's start with verse 3. We're talking about, this sounds good. Go ahead.
His parents said to him, isn't there a woman among the girls in the neighborhood of our people?
Hold on, let me tell you a little bit. We at Judges chapter 14. All right, and we want Judges chapter 16 after we read these 13 verses. I want to talk about Samson and Delilah. All right, go ahead.
His parents said to him, isn't there a woman among the girls in the neighborhood of our people? Do you have to go get a wife from an uncircumcised Philistine?
All right, first of all, your parents are already being messy. We're going for your parents being messy. They tell them, hey, can you find somebody else? Just read it. All right. Go ahead.
But Samson said to his father, get her for me. She's the one I want. She's the right one.
Remember that. Samson said, that's the one I want, and she's the right one. Remember Samson said, all right, verse 4.
His father and mother had no idea that God was behind this,
Oh.
that he was arranging an opportunity against the Philistines. At the time the Philistines lorded it over Israel.
All right, go ahead.
Samson went down to Timnah with his father and mother. When he got to the vineyards of Timnah, a young lion came at him, roaring. The Spirit of God came on him powerfully, and he ripped it open barehanded, like tearing a young goat. But he didn't tell his parents what he had done.
Remember that. He didn't tell the parents what he was doing. Verse 7.
Then he went on down and spoke to the woman. In Samson's eyes, she was the one.
All right.
Some days later, when he came back to get her, he made a little detour to look at what was left of the lion. And there a wonder. A swarm of bees in the lion's carcass, and honey. He scooped it in his hands and kept going, eating as he went. He rejoined his father and mother and gave some to them, and they ate. But he didn't tell them that he had scooped out the honey from the lion's carcass.
Well, we got Paul Samson just lied. I mean, Samson been lied 2 times already. Now, first he didn't tell them what he did. He didn't tell his mama them what he did. And then, catch this now, he had killed the carcass. He had killed a lion. The lion was laying dead. Some bees was in the lion's mouth. He scooped the honey out the dead animal mouth, ate the honey, and gave it to his man. Remember all this now. We set this up. Because see, y'all be talking about Tyler Perry going in. This some stuff in the Bible. It's better than Tyler Perry. I mean, he all right. Go ahead.
His father went on down to make arrangements with the woman, while Samson prepared a feast there. That's what the young men did in those days. Because the people were weary of him, they arranged for 30 friends to mingle with him.
They were scared of Samson. Go ahead.
Samson said to them, let me put a riddle to you. If you can figure it out during the 7 days of the feast, I'll give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of fine clothing. But if you can't figure it out, then you'll give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of fine clothing. They said, put your riddle, let's hear it. So he said, from the eater came something to eat. From the strong came something sweet. They couldn't figure it out. After 3 days, they were still starved. On the 4th day, they said to Samson's bride, warm the answer out of your husband, or we'll burn you and your father's household. Have you invited us here to bankrupt us? So Samson's bride turned on the tears, saying to him, you hate me, you don't love me. You told a riddle to my people, but you won't even tell me the answer. He said, I haven't told my own parents. Why would I tell you?
Small around too. Go ahead.
But the sarcasm. But she turned on the tears all 7 days of the feast. On the 7th day, worn out by her daddy, he told her. Then she went and told it to her people. The men of the town came to him on the 7th day, just before the sun set. What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? And Samson said, if you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have found out my riddle.
I knew y'all were all about that. Go ahead.
Then the Spirit of God came powerfully on him. He went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 of their men, stripped them, and gave their clothing to those who had solved the riddle. Stalking out, smoking with anger, he went home to his father's house. Samson's bride became the wife of the best man in his family.
Now, I know probably most of you in this room have only heard the other part of Samson's story, which is why I wanted us to read Judges chapter 14 so we can see how this been started. All right? Samson's parents didn't want him to marry who he married, but he said, this is the one for me, all right. So, now, understand this. His wife nagged him, chapter 14 just read about what was the answer to the riddle. Actually, he didn't tell her the truth about the riddle. He actually lied again. All right? And the tragic part is in verse 19 and 20. Not when the Spirit of the Lord came on him, that's good. But the tragic part is Samson's bride became the wife of his best man. That's right. At his wedding. Alright. So you got all this scandal going on. Alright. So I want y'all to read that. So when you go to chapter 15, we're not gonna read all chapter 15. There's some things I want to bring out of this. Read probably, I don't know. Let's read down to verse 5, and then we'll go to chapter 16. While I want to hang my head and I want to show you some things. All right, go ahead.
Later on, it was during the wheat harvest. Samson visited his bride, bringing a young goat. He said, let me see my wife. Show me her bedroom. But her father wouldn't let him in. He said, I concluded that by now you hated her with a passion. So I gave her to your best man. But her little sister is even more beautiful. Why not take her instead? Samson said,
it's in the book. We in the Bible now. We ain't reading y'all the rest of the story. This is in the Bible. Go ahead.
Samson said that this time when I attacks on the Philistines blameless. Samson then went out and caught 300 jackals. He lashed the jackals' tails together in pairs, tied a torch between each pair of tails. Then he set fire to the torches and let them loose in the Philistine fields of bright grain. Everything burned, both stacked and standing grain, vineyard and olive orchard, everything.
Go ahead.
The Philistines said, "Who did this?" They were told, "Samson, son-in-law of Timnite, who took his bride and gave her to his best man." The Philistines went up and burned both of her and her father to death.
Right. Go ahead.
Samson then said, "If this is the way you're going to act, I swear I'll get even with you, and I'm not quitting till the job's done." With that, he tore into them, ripping them limb from limb, a huge slaughter. Then he went down and stayed in a cave at Edom Rock. The Philistines set out and made camp in Judah, preparing to attack Leah, Jabon. When the men of Judah asked, "Why have you come up against us?" they said, "We're out to get Samson. We're going after Samson to do to him what he did to us." 3 companies of men from Judah went down to the cave of Edom Rock and said to Samson, "Don't you realize that the Philistines already bullied and lorded it over us? So what's going on with you, making things even worse?" He said, "It was tit for tat. I only did to them what they did to me." They said, "Well, we've come down here to tie you up and turn you over to the Philistines." Samson said, "Just promise not to hurt me." "We promise," they said. "We will tie you up and surrender you to them, but believe us, we won't kill you." They proceeded to tie him with new rope and led him up from the rock. As he approached Leah, the Philistines came to meet him, shouting in triumph. And then the Spirit of God came on him with great power. The ropes on his arms fell apart like flax on fire. The thongs slipped off his hands. He spotted a fresh donkey jawbone, reached down and grabbed it, and with it killed the whole company. And Samson said, "With a donkey's jawbone, I made heaps of donkeys of them. With a donkey's jawbone, I killed the entire company." When he finished speaking, he threw away the jawbone. He named that place Ramah Leah Jawbone Hill. Now he was suddenly very thirsty. He called out to God, "You have given your servant this great victory. Are you going to abandon me to die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised?" So God spit onto the rock basin in Leah. Water gushed out of Samson drank. His spirit revived. He was alive again. That's why it's called Collar Spring. It's still there at Leah today. Samson judged Israel for 20 years in the days of the Philistines.
All right, so we got chapter 14, 15 out of the way. Here's where we're going. Now, Samson has been through all this stuff in chapter 14 and 15. You saw a woman, you said you had to have her. Your parents said, "No, that's not the one for you." You said you got to have her. And then she ran off with your best man. Almost like the movie Runaway Bride. You've never seen that movie. Nice movie. So we get to chapter 16. And we get to chapter 16, and Samson, it ain't flat out there. But Samson has been through this for 2 chapters, all right? And he ruled over Israel for, I think, chapter 15 said 20 years, right? 20, how many? 26 years, all right. 20 years. So we get to chapter 16, and verse 1 and 2 is where folks start preaching. But I wanted you to get the precept of what was going on with Samson prior to chapter 16. So here we go. Samson in chapter 16, he's been through all this stuff, and here's what happened. Verse 1 and 2, what it say?
Samson went to Gaza and saw a prostitute. He went to her.
I'm done. Stop reading right there. This man had did nothing wrong. Everything had been done wrong to him. And watch how the devil show up. Verse 1 over with scene 1. He sees a whore. That's what I mean. Prostitute. And the Bible said he went to her.
Yeah.
She didn't come to him. He went to her. Now, there's a few questions that we have to ask. I don't know if you know that prostitutes per se that were owned up to prostitutes. But prostitutes don't have signs on them saying they're prostitutes. I mean, they just don't. Nobody has a shirt saying they're prostitute. All right? I know there are websites. I know, here in the modern day, we got Johns and all that kind of stuff. I know them. But how Samson know there was a prostitute? Okay.
He had an aura about him.
Well, she had an aura. All right. So he saw a prostitute. He went to her and read on to Neva.
The news got around. Samson's here. They gathered around in hiding, waiting all night for him at the city gate, quiet as mice, thinking at sunrise we'll kill him.
Understand, now this man had ruled over them for 20 years. He done killed Samson and killed all their folks. So they got issues with Samson anyway. They want to kill him. And just so happened, here you go, 20 years later, verse 1, scene 1, a prostitute appears, and the folks say, okay, we got it, it's him, okay, at sunrise we're going to kill him. Verse 3.
Samson was in bed with the woman until
Hold it up. Come on through, Samson. Come on through.
Then he got up, seized the doors of the city gate as the 2 gate posts, bolts and all, hefted them on his shoulders, and carried them to the top of the hill that faces him.
All right, go ahead.
Sometime later, he fell in love with the woman in the valley of Saru.
Wait a minute, Samson.
Over the stone.
Here it comes.
Her
Where?
name was Delilah.
Oh!
Delilah.
Hold on.
She was Delilah.
Notice, I'm going somewhere. Notice that from chapter 14 to up to this point, chapter 16, this is the first time that the Bible says that Samson fell in love with a prostitute. He wasn't in love with a stripper. Like a show. Y'all know this song? I know a lot. I just act like I don't know a lot. I'm in the word, but I'm not of the word. I mean, I'm of the word, but I'm not with it. You know what I'm saying? All right, so, I know what's going on, even though I don't say it. I mean, like I said, the Jill Scott video, but we ain't going to talk about that. We'll talk about that off the We'll talk about that. Don't get me off track. So verse 4. And some of y'all, I know y'all gonna Google it while we was teaching. Some of y'all don't know. I'm telling you, ain't gonna be ready. Y'all need to get Jill Scott alone. All right. So he fell in love with this woman, and her name was Delilah. Watch this. The Philistines said, listen, we've been looking for him. He killed our folk. We got to get him. I tell you what we want you to do. We want you to seduce him. But this time, we want you to find out where his strength is coming from, and we're going to tie him up, and we're going to do what we want to do to him. All right? So get to verse 6. Watch this.
So Delilah said to Samson, tell me, dear, the secret of your great strength and how you can be tired of it hungry. Samson told her, if they were to tie me up with 7 bowstrings, the kind made from fresh animal tendons, not jarred out, then I will become weak, just like anyone else.
All right, so here's the thing. Okay, we have discovered since chapter 14 that Samson ain't going to tell the truth. All right, about where his strength is. So once again, he has lied. But I want to put this in. I want y'all to see this. At this point, okay, the prostitute in verse 1 is not the light.
Right.
All right, that's two separate things. Watch this. I'm going so well, and if you hear me tonight, I can help you. Everybody thought Delilah, but Delilah did something that no other female in Samson's life did, and that was simply to talk to him. Okay, the first time, we just read the first time he lied. I mean, okay, if you know the Bible, you know the story. We in the meat of the story, so you know the story. The first time he lied, taught me over there, okay, she called folk in, and he got loose again, because that was not where his strength lied. All right? He lied about that time. If you look at verse 10, she said, okay, you lied to me. Come on now, tell me. You know, you playing with me, you making up stories, be serious. I mean, how can you be tied up? He told her another lie in verse 11. Read that when you get home. So, in verse 13 and 14, she said, you still playing games. He said to her, you know, if you will. Now, here's where he tells the truth.
Wait.
Yeah.
After the first time,
Yeah.
these people came to do what I told you made me weak, and
Yeah.
you still with this coming out.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You got to understand that this was the first woman that Samson was in love with that he had not slept with. I'm going somewhere. And so I want to submit to the females in the house that Delilah shows each female that's under the sound of my voice, and those that snooping on Facebook and scared and gonna look at it later. Delilah has shown, watch this, that if you talk to a man right, if you encourage him enough with only words, that he will give you the information that he has never given anybody. Not physical. Not not physical, but Delilah used words. And for the first time, Samson was in love with a woman that he hadn't even touched, because he could get who he wanted to get. He was a big dude. He was strong. All right, he was a handsome man. But 2 times he lied to her, and then on verse 13, she said, you still playing. She said the same thing 3 times, 2 times. You playing games with me, you tease me with lies, tell me how you can be tied up. All right? So he said to her, 7 braids on my hair to the fabric and all that kind of stuff. And when she still didn't get a lead. All right. And when he fell asleep, the latter part of verse 14, and when she had fallen asleep, and when he fell asleep, Delilah took the 7 braids of his hair and wove them into the fabric on the loom and drew it tight. Then she said, Samson, he woke up, ripped loose both the loom and the fabric. All right. Here's what we get to verse 15. 3 times what she said didn't work. But when you get to verse 15, she said, now how can you say you love me and you don't even trust me? She didn't put on no Teddy B. She said, how can you say you in love with me? Yeah, I'm in love with you. Well, how can you say you love me when you don't even trust me? 3 times you done made a fool out of me. Basically what she said. Hey, you won't tell me what your secret is. Verse 16 says, she kept at it day and day. She nagged and tormented him. And finally, he got fed up and he couldn't take it and he had to spill it. Actually, if you look at the King James Version, the Message Bible does not capture this, but actually what Samson did, as she was saying that last part in verse 15, when she was saying, how do you love me? She had Samson's head in her lap. She had his leg, she had his head in his lap, and she had his head in her lap. And she was stroking his hair as she was asking him about his secret. Y'all miss what I'm trying to tell you tonight. I'm trying to tell you tonight that everything in a relationship ain't physical. Especially, watch this, I'm finna help you. Especially when it comes to a man. A man is almost like a dog. Dogs like praise. You pat them on the head, give them some treats, they'll be your best friend. But what you cannot do, and what Delilah teaches, is that what you cannot do, you cannot beat a man verbally and then expect him to tell you what he's never told anybody. Because Samson had the best of women. It ain't like he needed Delilah. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna see what she looked like. But it ain't like she didn't like. But I said all that to say this, is that you have to be very careful how you treat a man verbally. I put in my note, well, nobody gonna say man, but Robert, Walter, or we all got it dead now. And I was looking for Jacquees, but he ain't here tonight. He ain't gonna say man. But the thing is, what happens in a whole lot of issues, whole lot of issues happen is that you gotta understand, a man is looked down on a whole lot, especially the African American man in the society that we stay in. You know, we gotta be, I mean, just like me, I'm on my job. Okay, I'm the highest degree person in my department. I mean, but you know, sometimes because of my skin color, because I don't take no mess, you know, sometimes that can be a hindrance, and you know, folks scared, you know, they scared to say something crazy to me because they know I'm just gonna be like, hey, you know, I don't care if we the CEO, we on the meeting, you pop off and pop back off. That's just how it is. How you do it, that's what I'm gonna do. Cause you ain't gonna do me like you do my counterpart because he don't look like me. Alright? So, I said all that to say this. So look at Delilah. Delilah never slept with Samson. But the other women did. And he told Delilah more than he told them. So what you got to say about that? Any questions on Facebook while we are having this discussion? Because this is a great discussion, because you got to understand that you can't keep calling a man dumb and stupid and he ain't got no sense and all this kind of stuff, and you don't take care of us, and you can't continue to dog him and expect him to stay there. He'll go to Delilah. And she ain't got to look better than you. She ain't got to look better than you. But how she treated. Yeah, and then I want to let me flip that around to some of you brothers. We can take that as, okay, some of y'all know y'all married to crazy folk. You know that. I mean, you know. And then we live in a society where you can't even like nothing on Facebook or comment, or somebody saying, oh y'all, wait, he comment. What? I mean, small minds. You know, when people think that way, something wrong with you mentally. I had to tell the brother, before I met Karen, I had to tell the brother one time, he thought I would, talk to a girl. I said, no, I said, let me tell you about me, because you don't really know about me. Let me just give you a little Jeff Thompson test. Let me go let you in on a little secret. First of all, I've been a musician since I was 12 years old. I've been playing since I was about 8 or 9. And my dad made sure that I knew that there was some homosexuals in this field. And so that was some stuff that he talked to me about at 10, 11 years old that I wouldn't dare talk to my son about. And so I had to tell this young man, and I wasn't married then, I think I was like 18, 19. I said, listen, bro, let me tell you how I roll. You know, my girl always in your face. I said, let me tell you how I roll. Let me tell you about me. Don't worry about the ones I'm talking to, worry about the ones that I ain't talking to. As long as they in my face, they good. You better watch the one I pass by and don't say that. That's just how I roll. That's how I roll back then. Carol did better than me though. Oh yeah, she did. I had to say her one time. I just left your house. You gonna help you gonna pay about me like you ain't seen me? I tell y'all like, hey, you doing that too good. I ain't missed my match. What I say about that to say this is that we have to really look at how we are treating the people that we say we love. We gotta watch how we treat people we say we love. And all the time it ain't about what you can do and all it's about how you treat folks. A lot of people leave a lot of relationships in because individuals get tired of all that chin music. When it's coming from a man or when it's coming from a woman. And so what they'll do, they'll find them a delight. They'll say, come on over here, boo. You can lay your head over here on my couch. You can stay over here for the night. I ain't gonna bother you tonight, but I got a plan. She made him comfortable. And she got in touch with a side of him that he didn't even know he had. Because he was so broad and so busy being a man. And the Lord said, oh, that's all we gotta do. Oh, y'all wanna know where it's spent? Oh, I can get it. Yeah, he had women throwing at him, so she knew she had to come at him at another angle. So what she did, she didn't come to him as in a physical sense. She came to him intelligently. Now, boo, you lied to me 3 times. 3 times he lied to her, like he been lying in the past. His parents didn't know what. He couldn't tell where his strength lied. That was a part of the deal of him being born, being having that strength. He could not tell anybody. So every time his parents asked or anybody asked, he would lie to him, and that's what he did. He was just used to doing that. He got caught. But then when we get to verse, you ain't close mouth, did you? When we get to verse 16 and 17, he just said, okay, boo, this is what it is. I ain't never cut my hair. Now, my strength is in my hair. You all right with that? So, in verse 18, he told her a secret. She went to the Philistines. She told them, hey, I got it. He done told me the truth. Y'all come on in and bring my money with you. So when he fell asleep, his head was laid on her lap. They cut his hair. He woke up, tried to get up, and was weak and couldn't get up. They had him, they got him together, but what they didn't know is that his strength actually came from God. They thought they had him. They got Samson. They put him in prison, put on the show. They had him standing between some killers, and basically he prayed to God one more time. He said, God, just give me my strength back. And just give it to me just this time. He said just this time, because he knew this was the last time they were going to die. And so the Lord allowed him to get his strength back. Well, you read through it. I mean, I ain't got to go through all that. But the thing that I want you to see, and I don't want you to leave here with this, without this in your mind. With loving kindness have I drawn thee. The Lord say that with loving kindness. Like you can't. Everybody got an issue. Some people we see their outward issue. Some people know how to hide their stuff. But it ain't never up to me to stand up in church and tell this person, get out of here. That ain't my job. My job is to love folk and let God train folk, because ain't nothing I can do with folk. And so I think sometimes, especially when we're dealing with individuals, that we forget about that. And so this story, a lot of people don't know the backdrop to Samson. That's why I like for people to read. That's why I tell you, anytime we read something, we study something in Bible study, you need to read the before and the after, because it'll give you a better picture. Some of you didn't even know that happened to Samson. I mean, this man was traumatized. I mean, your wife that you thought you wanted for yours and your best man run off with her. You supposed to be okay with that? No, you gotta get some get back. I don't care how much you love the Lord. I'm just saying. That's just not the credit. And so here is this woman who knows that he can have any woman he wants, comes in and say, okay, I'm gonna talk to him nice. Because he ain't never had nobody talk to him. I hate to see individuals talk to each other like they dogs, like they don't matter. Like it doesn't. I mean, everybody do respect. I mean, we all get into arguments and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, we ought to know how to treat people without speech. You agree or disagree? So, what can we say about this lesson? Any questions on Facebook, David? Or they just learning to do it? So I guess my question is, I guess Samson was trying not to tell her, so that's why he lied 3 times. So she must have been showing up strong. She must have had some sleep. She had some of them lady nails. Same thing there. She rubbed him right. She green that scalp with that blue mask. They got their rat tail comb. With them paws. And they have coming through from the back. She got that scalp real good. Hold on, let me go on to you. But y'all, I thought about that when I was getting together. I'm like, man, I said, yeah, like all these other women had sex with the man, and the one woman that didn't have sex with him got the secret. I keep on telling, like I told y'all, son, the bishop texted me and asked me, what that quote was he told the women Sunday about they could be the hide. They said, I said, yeah, if you want to be found, you got to hide. The Bible says a man that findeth, if I already know you down at the Williams Sport, the 205, if I already know that, you ain't hiding. So that's why you keep getting what you get. But what you meet in the club, you ain't the only you know, these days, the less clothes you have, I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I mean, the less naked they are, the more they posting on social media. I don't understand that. Like, that's moving. You might be fine, but the reason you ain't got no man because you doing stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. I'm not talking about being dead. Oh, you ain't know. Hi.
I grew up on them, man. All these babies with them long skirts.
Easy access. I mean, just like that. I mean, in my house, like this, I mean, this is the house that I grew up in. You know, me and Desmond, we first cousins, and she know this. Like, my mom didn't allow nobody to close her door. You can close her door. And I close the door if you want to. My mom will take the door off the end. These days, these children, but we allow that. I don't like it now. You know, I let the mama run out. I mean, but if I had my way, when none of the door would be open. I mean, when none of the door would be closed. Because what you doing in there that you got, you know, then like I told you the other day, like, dude, you know, we on unlimited data, but your data is way high now. Like, what you doing?
Everybody got their own data.
Yeah. Everybody got their own data, but I see the bill. I know who using the most. And it's him. His data be stuff be running slow 2 days after the bill cycle. Already running slow. Get out there too. Got TV is there playing good money. Okay. Well, anyway, I said I didn't say that. So let's I'm done. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. And we're done. Any questions about what was said, what was read? I know you didn't know it was in there like that, but it's in there like that. It happens just like that. I mean, it's just what it is.
Well, I got to say,
Yeah.
It goes back to what
Yeah.
I had this fella, I didn't know him, and I got this spot. He said, he's somehow blind. I said, but I ain't there, you know, but I spiritually feel me
Yeah.
and all. But he said, you like this. You know, I appreciate that. I ain't somebody blind, I ain't wrong.
Yeah.
My spirit is every people right.
It happens. It happens.
I swear, I feel like I'm telepathic when it comes to your topic about it.
I swear that this weekend my friend was talking about the same thing. And when I asked him, I was like, it's funny that we don't learn. I said, not that